What's up, everybody? Happy Megs Monday. Welcome back to Be Fucking For Real, the home of unfiltered takes, unapologetic truths. I am your host, Miss Megan Liana. I missed y'all last week. Baby girl was traveling and was tired, okay? See, that's the thing about going live and when you got to do it all yourself. Listen, sometimes when you are tired, you have to give your body what it needs. And last Monday, my body was like, girl, you better sleep. You ain't got no energy for this stream. And, I can't give y'all no half-ass stream. So, I had to wait till I was refreshed and my energy was replenished. And baby, we are back. Okay. Now, this last week, I could say that, and when I was looking at these stories, I'm like, I feel like the last week it was a lot of people trying to play in women's faces towards the end of Women's History Month. And, that's okay because we are here with our unapologetic truths and unfiltered takes to call their ass out on it. So, first things first, we about to get into this NBA thing, okay? Now, the NBA has raised their minimum, which is great. They were negotiating about like 17 months, I think, and they were able to negotiate more money for the players in WNBA women's basketball. Now, in that new agreement, what that did was it raised the salary cap to $7 million. That's amazing, right? And it's amazing in comparison to what the previous cap was, which was 1.5 million in 2025. Now, it was the perfect time to negotiate this deal because of the surge in women's basketball viewership. But when you compare, so let's compare the NBA minimum salary to the new WNBA minimum salary. So the minimum salary for the WNBA was raised to $300,000 from the previous $66,000. Now, compared to the NBA, which is men's basketball, their minimum salary is 1.1 million. And in comparison to the previous salary cap in the WNBA of 1.5 million, basically the NBA's lowest used to be the WNBA's highest. And so, yes, it's gone up. Now of course the argument is that the NBA is a excuse me, the NBA is $1 billion business, right? It generates billions, and the WNBA is just still generating millions. And so the viewership is disproportionate, so that means their pay is going to be disproportionate. But another thing that I think is at least fair in this uh, raise, even though I still think it's a low raise, um, is that now in women's basketball, their salary is able to grow with the league revenue. And that was something they didn't have before. So at least that's somewhat of a win. But it's like, yeah, we can celebrate the win and we can celebrate the progress, but when you look at the fact that this year marks like the 30th anniversary for the WNBA, does that even scratch the surface? I don't think so. I don't think that's fair. I think that it's still low. And I don't know. I mean, you have to take what you can get, but I think that, women are underpaid in so many other industries, right? And so because of that, I just think it's another case of women not getting their just due, because it's like they're still on the court, they're still, putting their bodies through the same wear and tear as male basketball players. They're still I feel like they go through more because, it's like when it comes to pregnancy and maternity leave. And that was something else that they had to really fight for, a proper maternity leave. But I just think that the numbers are so disproportionate that it's like, even if they're able to grow with the viewership, right? If their revenue is still able to grow with the viewership, if this is where they're at after 30 years, will they ever reach NBA numbers? And not even full NBA numbers. I would say if they could at least have the same low minimum as the NBA, I feel like that would be somewhat a little more fair. But as women know, when it comes to pay, it's never fair. Moving right along, something that to me I think is never fair is the amount of men that love to run their mouth on these podcasts about the women that they've been with, right? So now, according to Brandy, he ain't mine, right? But let's get into the backstory, okay? So Shyne was recently on It Is What It Is podcast with Mace and Cameron. And I've talked about Cameron before. Y'all know that dude, he's an imbecile, in my opinion. And that's just the best way I could put it. But he asked he asked Shyne and Mace about their experience with Brandy. And this is what their immature asses had to say.
You was dating Brandy at one time, or y'all was just, how'd it go?
I was special, He didn't want to be special. So I had to let him be special.
I mean, no lies told. He was the superstar of the team, but I definitely did want to be special. But I had no idea. So what happened is we had a mutual friend who was a snitch. So I think he know who it is. Right. I was so excited because this is my dream person.
Right. Talk about Brandy.
Brandy. As a dream, I'm like, man, if she was to know Shyne, I got that.
Right.
So when I came up, she was in the crosshairs. Like, I was sniping.
Right.
I had no idea though, because he was special.
Right.
So he was running that playbook so discreetly, so quietly. I had no idea.
Yeah, he's sneaky.
So he was an ultra sniper. But I was so excited, so I kept telling one of our mutual friends, and he was snitching me out. And then so Brandy was like, "Yo, who you told you here? How so and so know that you here with me right now?" And I'm like, "Oh."
Because you was running your mouth then and you running your mouth now, nigga. Now, here's the thing, right? Brandy had to come out and say something because, of course, Ray J got involved. And Ray J done made so many videos about it. I'm not even putting it up because he had to apologize today because, of course, he was taking shit too far. But perfect timing for Brandy to announce her new memoir. But what she said was basically she had a platonic friendship with Shyne. Meaning, whatever it was, she didn't take his ass serious. And so, and then TMZ caught up with Shyne to get his response to what she has to say. But before I go into his response, it's really important to note that nobody gives a fuck about Shyne unless he is talking about somebody else. But we're going to get into that. But first, let's get into what he got to say to TMZ about it.
But I will say that I never lied to Oprah. She lied to Oprah about being married and had to go on Oprah and apologize because she said she did that to protect her image. So,
do you think she just doesn't want to be associated with you?
I don't know. I can't get in her mind. I'm just saying that she has lied to the public before to.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, I have seen this dude talk on 3 shows this last week about Brandy. And it's the same. First, it was whatever their little rendezvous was. Then now he's talking about how she lied to protect her image. First of all, she was Brandy. Like, Brandy was living at a time where you had to protect your reputation and you had to protect your image. She was like, people don't give Brandy enough credit. That is like, when she was a teenager, she was that triple threat. She was the person that needed to protect her image. And when he's talking about her reputation, he's referring to when she got pregnant. She said that she was married. The story was that she was married. Then after her and her daughter's father broke up, he went on Wendy Williams and spilled the tea that they were never married. It was a PR, and they did that to protect her image. And that really damaged her image. And to me, ain't nothing like a bitter baby daddy that's just trying to ruin you. And that's what he did. And the fact that shit happened in like 2001, 2000, maybe 2003, right? 2002, 2003. And he's bringing up her lying on Oprah. Like, first of all, Shyne, you lied to, and you took a case, you went to jail for Diddy. And that's my other issue with Shyne, is that I never see Shyne getting clout in an interview unless if he's talking about somebody else. So he was able to go on his little interview tour when it was about, him talking about Diddy and the case, which he never really admitted to anything. And now I've seen him do all these interviews about him and Brandy and bringing up that, oh, well, she lied to Oprah. Baby, you wish you could talk to Oprah. You wish, even with you being whatever role in Congress he is in Belize, that you were still important enough for Oprah or somebody to talk to you for what you got going on right now. Instead, all Shyne want to talk about is shit that happened in the 90s from the 2-hit. This is a 2-hit wonder. If he never would have went to jail, there's no telling if he would have even had that big of a hit after those 2 songs came out. So I sincerely hope she gets a cease and desist on his ass. And if she doesn't get a cease and desist on his ass, I hope he finds something else better to do and something else to talk about. Because the fact that you got to talk about Brandy, and it's been over 20 years since whatever happened. We need to be fucking for real that they need to take the fucking microphones from Shyne, unless if he has something to promote. And the thing is, he probably is promoting something, but no one knows because all he's talking about is Brandy. Another person that was trying to play in women's faces this last week, this guy right here. E.J. Johnson. Now, if you don't know, this is Magic Johnson's son. He likes to wear women's clothes. He's not trans, right? Like, he's very okay with his pronouns being, to my knowledge, being, him, guy, male pronouns. And he likes to, wear dresses and stuff. And he had this to say in an interview with Carlos King this last week.
Especially if I look cuter than any girl does, like, what's the problem? Like, what's the issue? And that's exactly how I apply it to myself to these days in the way that I present, like in my, in my feminine regalia. I've always been a feminine being, and like that's just like how I best express myself. But I'm like, listen, I'm out all the time, you know, and like I'm killing a dress and no one else is. Like the girls in the room are not doing it. Like they don't look cute. They're not dressed to any nines. So, you know, I love it.
Carlos, shut your fucking ass up. Okay, here's my problem, right? First off, I would love to know the girls that he is killing when he walks in the room. Like, point the girls out. At this point, I need to, you know, we need to do a whole walk it like it's the runway, because we don't believe you. Number one. But positive affirmations are very important. Very important. As Tia Quisha said, delusional. And what does my banner say? What does this say? EJ Johnson and his delusional misogyny. Because baby, that is all it is. It's delusion. It's delusional misogyny. And it's the fact that you can have all the confidence in the world, right? Like, I feel that, you know, when people, especially when you have low self-esteem and you feel out of your element, you know, positive affirmations are that thing that like gives you the confidence. And so, you know, you look in the mirror and you say like, I am that bitch. I am her. I am killing these hoes. Like, in cases where you need to create a form of delusion, affirmations are great for that. And I think that what EJ Johnson did was he mistook his affirmations as reality. And the thing is, I remember, you know, when he first came out, and this was before he lost the weight, right? This was before when he was looking just raggedy. And I would have put the pictures up, but it would have been too many. But look up EJ Johnson when he first came out. First of all, he's not even that good of a dresser. Like, his fashion sense isn't something where it's like, yeah, you killing hoes. Because here's the thing. I love me a gay man with style. Okay. I love it. You know, I give tens and I give props where they are due. But I feel that the bigger issue is, and this is with like the LGBTQ movement, the bigger issue that I feel women have is that there is a layer of misogyny and competition against women that really isn't necessary, right? Because let's say if a lot of women are out, we at a party, and I could just speak for myself and my crew, right? Let's say we out and we see, you know, drag queens or trans. That ain't none of my business. Do you? Because if somebody is attracted to you, I am not their type and I don't want them. And that's okay. Like, no woman is trying to compete with EJ Johnson. No woman is walking around trying to compete with trans women. And it's the fact that there's this constant need to come at women, natural born women, when it's like, we're just existing in the blueprint that we are, that you are trying to emulate. And it's kind of like you hate what you're not. So no, how can I say this? Yeah, no, you hate the blueprint of what you are not because you're not that, but it's because you want to be that. And so it's like this, it's pure. It's like the art of jealousy that you learn when you're a kid, where they're like, oh, this girl doesn't like me. And it's like, oh, because she's probably jealous of you. I feel like that's what happens with like EJ Johnson and, you know, men like him, where it's like they feel that in order for them to shine in their feminine regalia or whatever, you know, they call it, they feel like they have to downplay women in order to put themselves up. And it's like, we're not even in the same lane. We're not even in the same category. Do you? And then Carlos King right there going, clock it, baby. Ain't nothing getting clocked. Like, you're sitting there Why not push back on some of that? And that, again, that's where I feel like the issue is. A lot of it it's misogyny, and I say it's misogyny because if once you're able to live in your privilege as a man, I feel that male privilege never goes away, and you kind of still will bulldoze whatever situation in comparison to women. And I feel like it just, transpires in these situations as well, where a man has to put women down, and it's like, baby, get some hips at least. Let me stop. But the cardboard male shape in that dress is not giving what needed to be gave. And I think a part of it is probably rage baiting. He got the reaction he wanted and he's trending for it. But it's also like, baby, the way he been getting ate up, I don't think it's worth it. But to each their own. Now, this wasn't someone who was playing in women's faces. He was actually playing with women in the wrong way, and he was doing too much. But this last week started with the downfall of another man that has been consumed by his vices. Okay, so César Chávez. It came out this week that César Chávez sexually assaulted a lot of women. And this came about from the New York Times. This was a 5-year investigation, and it came out that there were 2 women that he sexually assaulted when they were 12 and 13. They were daughters of people that were a part of his United Farm Workers Union. And then he also sexually assaulted Dolores Huerta, who was the co-founder of the United Farm Workers Union. And these assaults, yes, they took place in the 70s, but we need to be fucking for real that there is no time limit on when a victim chooses to come forward and be honest about her assault and what happened to her. People were upset, or one of the comments that I've been seeing is like, oh, he's not alive to defend himself. He's not living to deny it's innocent until proven guilty. And if he was alive, he would just deny it. And the people that don't believe the victims, like, still wouldn't believe the victims. Like, some people just are pro men and they don't care who you are. They will not believe that as whatever martyr you are, that you could be so disgusting and a creep. But I think we need to put into perspective, like, what do these women have to gain with coming forward? And I wanted to do research on really what was going on more in the back end and like what brought this story on, right? And then this was a 5-year investigation. It started from a tip in 2021, and the women that came forward, they actually did not want to come forward and tell their story. So it took them time to even be comfortable to admit to the journalists that were investigating the tip what happened. The New York Times interviewed 60 people, and they were able to corroborate this. They also were able to view confidential records, confidential emails. And then, like, one detail that came out was that several of the union members knew what he was doing. Not only did they know what he was doing, there was an email that they found where in the early 2000s, where they warned his son that this could come out. Not only were there emails of and discussions that they warned his son that this could come out, another thing that came out was several union members, they knew what he was doing, and there was an email trail of a member discussing the abuse and the impact of what the abuse had on the victims. So it's clear people knew and they were covering it, and they were covering it up. And that's what always gets me with these cases with like César Chávez or Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby or R. Kelly or Diddy. The people around them know. Like it's never just their, like, he's her word against his. There's never a case where it's like it's just they said it, he denies it, and nobody knew about it and could corroborate and cover it up. And that's my issue, is that people love to make it seem like, oh, these guys could never. He's not a creep. He's not a rapist. Look what he did for union workers. Look what he did for Mexicans. When it's like, there are videos of him using slurs against his own people. There are videos of him speaking horribly about Mexican immigrants. So it's like, we have this habit of thinking that because a person may have gotten behind a good cause, that they're a good person, or that because they were a part of this moment in history, that they weren't a fucking creep or they weren't a fucking rapist. And César Chávez was. And people are focusing solely on Dolores, who was the co-founder that came forward because she's 95. But no one's acknowledging that there were 2 teenagers that he assaulted that came forward as well in these articles. Dolores just, released her story because they came forward too. And she ended up conceiving and getting pregnant and giving those kids up for adoption. And the DNA did prove that he was one of the kids, that he was the father. But people love to kind of separate the legacy from the person. But fuck César Chávez legacy. He doesn't deserve to be celebrated if he's this much of a monster. The truth deserves to come out about his wrong. And that's that. Another truth that needs to come out about their wrong is fucking POTUS. Despite the Epstein stuff, despite the denials, there were a lot of women played with last year. This last week, but I'm so sick and tired of the president playing in all Americans' faces, all right? Because gas prices are high as hell right now, and we need to be fucking for real that it is Donald Trump's fault. Like, we would not be at war and we would not be having this issue going on if he would have just said no and not gotten us in this unnecessary war. And Iran, they hold the power. They're able to restrict passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and they literally had the power to completely disrupt the oil market. And I have to say, well played, because they were able to halt the passage of all tanker movement through that strait. And most of the Persian Gulf's oil that passes through there has not been able to get to the countries that rely on it. And it's basic economics. If there is a decrease in access to a supply while the demand remains high, prices are going to go up. And the fact that not only has Iran been able to completely disrupt the oil market by closing the strait, um, this war and the things that have happened in the Middle East, the damage that has been done, this is not something that, excuse me, can just be fixed like that. These issues, the things that have been destroyed, the things that have been blown up, like the oil market has been changed. And what also is so stupid to me is that one minute he is, first of all, I have never, in my almost 40 years of living, I have never ever seen a president use social media to say what they're going to do next in the war or make threats for the war that they're fighting via social media. Like usually if you're in a war, you don't want your enemy to know what you're doing next. And it's like one minute, Trump is making threats to Iran, and then the next minute he's quietly removing sanctions on their oil sales. So he's trying to help, change the market and move that oil, but it doesn't help because he's still talking shit and we're still at war. And as gas prices are going up, of course, he has his gaslighting ass PR crew on the news making stupid ass comments like this.
Again, I think we have to offer the president grace. We know the president cares about the economy, gas prices for the American people. He's talked about that frequently and often. He also cares about peace. And a lot of people don't give him credit for that.
Because he doesn't care about peace. That's why he's not given credit for that. And I'm not giving him grace on a fucking thing. Because Donald Trump, I remember when it was this big deal and when Kanye West was like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. Like, Donald Trump doesn't care about anybody. Donald Trump does not care about the American people, and he does not care about the impact of gas prices. He does not give a fuck. What he does care about is the impact of gas prices and how it, will affect the bottom line on his billionaire oil buddies. That's what he cares about. And it's so mind-boggling to me. Actually, no, it's insulting to me. It's insulting to me when I see people on the news and they're like, "Oh, gas prices they're going up for a little bit, but it's okay. It's a temporary pain." The fuck are y'all talking about? Like, these people are making these decisions based off of their own egos. Like, it's not even about, it is about nothing more than the ego of saying, hey, we blew them up, because no one still knows why we're fighting in this war right now, or why it has escalated. And according to Trump, he did say today that him and excuse me, Iran, the leaders have been negotiating and talking. Iran said that's a motherfucking lie. We're not talking to you. So who knows what's going on? But I always hate when gas gets really, really high, because I remember when I first started driving, right? And this was like 23 years ago. I'm really aging myself. But I remember when gas was like $2.17 a gallon, right? And then I remember when gas went up to like $3 and it was a big deal. And then it went up to $4. But every time it goes up, it never goes back down to what it used to be. And so the fact that gas is going up for me where I'm at, it's not as high. I mean, it's gone up $1, and overall it's gone up 32%. That's a lot. But I hope it doesn't get too high to where when it comes down, there is no coming down. Because I'm telling you now, if $5 and something cents is the new norm for gas, baby, I'm not driving nowhere no more. I am getting me a scooter, and that's about it. But another thing we need to be fucking for real about that this president is messing up is that ICE agents going to airports and being the new TSA, that's going to create a bigger clusterfuck than what they were doing in the streets. Okay. Now, if you didn't know, because I personally didn't, I don't want to say I didn't know, I just didn't really understand that the government is partially shut down right now. And I guess I didn't really understand that it's a partial shutdown because it hasn't been talked about as much because we're at war right now. But with the partial shutdown, TSA workers have been working without pay. And with them working without pay, that means a lot of them stop coming to work. And so Trump was like, okay, I'm about to send ICE agents to the airport to help move security lines. I think that that was just done as a threat and a fuck you, because right now, the reason that the government is partially shut down is because Democrats do not want to vote to fund DHS. And that is because after the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, when it was time to vote for to increase their budget, Democrats were like, no, what we're going to do is we're not going to fund them until we have these guardrails for enforcement, which makes sense because ICE is out of fucking control. Here's the issue is that when they attempted to advance a standalone TSA funding bill, because they do want to pay the TSA folks so that way the airlines can keep moving, Republicans were like, nah, we're not voting on that. And the reason why someone said, Mia said, this is a scheme that Todd set up at this point, and I fucking agree, because it makes no fucking sense. Like, I have said it before, this is the most non-functioning government I have ever witnessed in my life, because I don't understand how, number one, they can't just come to a deal to fucking fund TSA. At least get them paid. They see the lines that are at the airports. It's ridiculous right now. It's a horrible time to fly. But on top of that, the fact that Republicans will use this as a way to block voting. And what that boils down to is the scheme of the SAVE Act. And basically, we're literally being held hostage right now. And this is what like Trump just said this morning about funding TSA and the SAVE Act.
Got to do something about it all, and it's part of Homeland Security. And I'm suggesting strongly to the Republican Party, don't make any deal on anything. The most important thing we can have is what's called the Save America Act. Don't make any deal on anything unless you include voter ID, and you have to be a citizen to vote. You have to show citizenship.
Okay, now, he makes it sound like, oh, it's just this citizenship thing, or like people, for one, the percentage of non-American citizens that vote or voter fraud is very, very minimal. This is literally not only a scheme that Todd set up, it's a scheme that Trump set up because they want to make sure that they can limit the amount of people that can vote. And so they're using this TSA issue to not pay or fund TSA, but they're basically grabbing the Democrats by the balls and are saying, hey, if you don't approve this act, then we're not going to pay TSA. Tia Quisha said TSA will be privatized soon. Word to Project 2025. Girl, TSA and the U.S. mail system. Because let's not forget, which it may not have been discussed because there's so much other news going on, but it did come out that right now the U.S. Postal Service probably has about a year or two of funding left in the budget before that will have to be privatized. And so that's the thing, is they want to privatize all this shit. The United States Postal Service, TSA, Social Security. They just want to gut and privatize all that shit, and they want to suppress voters. And it makes me mad. Like, I get so mad at the fact that, like, we have the audacity to go to Iran or other countries and say, hey, you have this dictator and we're going to get rid of this and we're going to get rid of your government and all that other shit. But we have a government that does nothing as long as Trump says it. Like, Trump, and for him to just be like, Republicans, don't vote on this until you get this. We're literally held hostage. And I really feel for the TSA workers, like, that's why they be so mad. And if you think that they was annoyed before, this is a horrible time to travel. Because if I was a TSA worker and I had to still show up to not get paid, first of all, I probably wouldn't be showing up. But second of all, baby, everybody getting through. I ain't stopping a motherfucking thing, okay? I don't care if you could have liquid in your fucking hand. Y'all could pass through with a water bottle. You could have all your fucking makeup and your hair products in your luggage. Baby, I'm not stopping nothing. I'm not throwing away nothing. But the thing is, with ICE being there, like, today, a video came out where they were like trying to arrest a Hispanic woman that was with her daughter, her child, who said that, and she said she was a citizen. They wouldn't give her a chance to find her paperwork. And then, like, the police were surrounding them. It's just so much bullshit. And it's like, traveling at the airport is like worse enough, right? Then to have to travel with fucking ICE agents there, these untrained, like, I feel like ICE is trained to harass and, like, be reckless. And the fact that they're trained to harass and be reckless and they're at the airports now, I give it a month. I give it a month before. And look, so today is March 23rd. And mark my words, because a month from now, I guarantee I am going to have to run this clip back with the story of them making a fatal, I don't even want to say a fatal mistake, of them having a fatal action that is going to seriously hurt or unalive somebody. And this is all because the government would rather not pay TSA in order to give Trump what he wants, to pass a voter suppression act. And there's too many nuances to go into the SAVE Act right now. So I'm definitely going to I'm going to break it down on my social media. So make sure you are following me at Miss Megaliana, which is the same name as this page, because I'm going to break down the SAVE Act and how that actually does impact voters and how that is a form of voter suppression. Because they know that if they pass that SAVE Act, that it'll suppress enough voters and it can possibly help Republicans get more votes and win. And that's the thing, is that we are ran by a government that would rather play dirty to stay in power instead of running for the people that are putting them in office. And I can't fucking wait till the days of American lives under Project 2025 influence is done. Like, I can't wait for the series finale of this chapter of America. That's it. That's all. I am motherfucking tired. There is so much shit that goes on. You can't even keep track until the next thing happens. And then when you realize that happened, then something else happens. And it's like there's so much going on. But that's what they want, is they want us to be overwhelmed and overstimulated by all the shit that they're doing, to where there's so much going on that you can't keep track and you can't pay attention to it. But that's why y'all got me, because I be watching this shit and I be researching, and I do my best to not only give you the facts, but give you that unfiltered opinion, unapologetic truths. And that's what Be Fucking For Real is about. No fluff, no bullshit. We keep it real over here. And that is it for this week's episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure that you like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Every Monday is Meg's Monday, where we be fucking for real. And make sure y'all comment, because as you can see, if you talk to me, I talk back. All right. I am Miss Megan Liana, and that is it for Be Fucking For Real. And I'm gonna see y'all next week.